let's get into this tier list, everybody. We're going to break it down. We're going to start with the AFC East. The winner of the AFC East, in my opinion, it's going to be a two-headed race. But I think the Buffalo Bills just have too good of a team, too good of a coaching staff to let some of these other teams sneak in and win that division, right? I didn't love the Buffalo Bills draft, right? Keon Coleman, is he even a top 10 receiver in this draft class? I don't know. Trading back in the first round, I didn't love that. They also got Cole Bishop, the safety from Utah, Dwayne Carter, the D tackle from Duke. They needed some help on defense for sure. They were dealing with tons of injuries last year. And then they went linebacker, edge, offensive tackle, cornerback, and offensive guard. So they added a lot of players. Are these guys super good players? I'll leave that for you guys to decide. All right, the next team coming in second place, who very well could win this division if everybody stays healthy, is the New York Jets. We got Aaron Rodgers healthy. I love their first pick in the draft. Olu Fashanu is one of the biggest, baddest offensive tackles in this entire draft class. He was like my second or third ranked offensive lineman at the tackle position. He's a stud, man, an absolute stud. Fallen to them at number 11, maybe the second or third best guy, depending on who you think is better with Joe Alt, J.C. Latham, and Olu Fashanu. I thought they were the three-headed monster at offensive line. Malachi Corley, he's a decent wide receiver. I was a little shocked that he fell to the third round, so it's a pretty solid pick. Then they went Braylon Allen from Wisconsin, the running back. Pretty good player, 6'1", 235. Is he an elite player? It's really hard to tell with running backs, man. Running backs can be first-round bust or seventh-round studs. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Then they drafted Jordan Travis from Florida State. I like this pick. I actually like Jordan Travis a lot more than most people did in the draft process. They did pretty good with their draft. And then next is the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins, in my opinion, they just lost too many really good players, both on the offensive side and the defensive side of the football. Vic Fangio, their defensive coordinator, is also gone. Chop Robinson going at 21. I think that's a serious overdraft. He wasn't even productive in college. He's got a lot of skills, but they don't translate to production. And if he's not producing in college, how is he going to produce in the NFL? I just don't see it. I don't love that pick there. Then Patrick Paul from Houston was a pretty solid second-round pick. I'm not going to lie. I like that pick. Jalen Wright from Tennessee, the running back. I'm like looking over their draft, and I don't see a lot of impact players that are going to change this team. That's why, for me, they're going number 3. And, of course, number 4 is going to be the New England Patriots, everybody. They drafted Drake May, number 3 overall, but I don't think he's going to play this year. I think it's going to be Jacoby Brissett's spot to win or lose. I think Drake May is just a little bit too raw. The Patriots don't have a ton of weapons. Throwing him out there would be a disservice to him. That's why, I mean, if the Patriots win 5 games, I'm going to be surprised. Then they went Jalen Polk in the second round. He's a decent wide receiver. He's not super, super good, but I mean, that Washington college team was crazy good with Rome Odunze and Michael Penix Jr., who went to the Falcons. Then they went Caden Wallace from Penn State, Robinson from Texas A&M, Baker, the wide receiver from Central Florida. They had an okay draft. And then they drafted a quarterback, Joe Milton, the third in the 6th round. That rounds out the AFC East. Now, let's move on to the AFC North. The AFC North is the most competitive division, in my opinion, in the NFL this year. I think just like last year, all 4 of these teams will have winning records. But who's going to win this division? I just don't see anyone upseating the Ravens, man. And the Ravens just figure out a way to just draft like absolute G's. Nate Wiggins, Roger Rosengarten, Idris Isaac, Devontae Walker, TJ Tampa in the 4th round. Oh my God, the Ravens absolutely crushed this draft. Super impressed by their draft. They got a good offensive lineman in Simek from Michigan State, the safety Kane from Purdue. They just crushed the draft. They're going to win this division, I think. they probably could win 13, 14, 12 games again this year. And then it's a three-headed race between the Bengals, the Browns, and the Steelers. But in the NFL, quarterback is the most important position for a reason. The Bengals are number 2. The Bengals also had a really, really good draft, guys. Look at this. They got Mims. I love Mims. He's got like 30,000-inch arms. He's a monster, and he's really young. He's like 21 years old, 6'8", 340 pounds. Man, the dude is an absolute stud. Chris Jenkins from Michigan, that really good rush defense with Michigan. I like Chris Jenkins. Jermaine Burton might be the steal of the draft. He's got some off-the-field issues, but he plays mean and dirty and nasty, and he's got great hands. I never seen a wide receiver want to hurt cornerbacks as much as Jermaine Burton does. I like that pick. And then getting McKinley Jackson from Texas A&M in the third round as well. I just love this whole draft. Josh Newton from TCU is a really good player. I just really love their draft. That's why I have them in the second place spot for this division. And then the Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think their offenses are washes. I don't think Russell Wilson's going to come in and light it up. They're going to run the ball a lot. I think the Browns are going to run the ball a lot. I probably like Deshaun Watson a smidge better than Russell Wilson, but we'll see. He had good numbers last year, Russell Wilson did in Denver, but Sean Payton kind of kept him safe, kept him from hurting himself a lot with the play calls. I like the Browns here. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, everyone. The Pittsburgh Steelers had a pretty decent draft, too. I liked their draft. Getting Troy Fontana, who's a great offensive lineman. Zach Frazier, the center from West Virginia, is very good. Roman Wilson, one of my favorite wide receivers in the draft in the third round. Amazing pick. Peyton Wilson, he fell to the third round in this draft. He was one of the better linebackers in college football. But if you watch the tape, he kind of tackles a little high for me. I think he's going to get trucked a lot at the NFL level. Let's move on to the AFC South. Winning this division for me is the Houston Texans, guys. CJ Stroud is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He was incredible on third down. Really good, solid player. And then I like the Colts to come in second place. I think Anthony Richardson in year 2, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a really, really interesting player to watch this year. The Colts defense is pretty good. Pretty solid offensive line. I like the Colts here. Jaguars, their defense is a little suspect for me. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have the best weapons there, so I think they're going to come in third place. And then rounding out this AFC South is the Tennessee Titans for me, guys. And now we're going to move on to the AFC West. The Chiefs are obviously going to win this division. I just don't see any other of these teams, the Raiders, the Broncos, coming in and dethroning the Kansas City Chiefs. I like the Chiefs to win this division. And then for me, number 2, I'm going with the Raiders, man. I think Aiden O'Connell is going to be a lot better than people think. If he was a first or second round pick and had the year he had last year, people would be like, okay. He had an okay year. He wasn't good. He had some good stuff, had some bad stuff like most rookies do. But let's see what he's got. But since he was a later round pick, they're like, oh, this guy's no good. But he can learn a lot from Gardner Minshew. I don't know who's going to start. I think it's going to be Aiden O'Connell. That is just where I'm at with the Raiders right now. I think that defense is going to be really good. I'm excited for the Raiders this year. They could compete for a wild card spot too. And then we got the Broncos. The Broncos and Raiders were going to be pretty close in my opinion. I think Bo Nix starts from day one. He's got okay wide receivers. They're not an elite unit by any stretch of the imagination with Cortland Sutton over there, but they're okay. But I like Sean Payton as a quarterback coach, right? Bo Nix was extremely accurate in college. So we'll have to see how that defense kind of holds up in Denver with the Broncos. I don't think the offense is going to light it up. Bo Nix will be okay, though. I think he'll be just fine. I think he's going to be a solid NFL quarterback. And rounding out the AFC West, in my opinion, is going to be the Chargers. Now, real quick, let's take a look at how the Chargers draft. They had a pretty good draft, but they didn't have a lot of top 100 picks, man. They had Joe Alt with number 5. Great pick, right? They need that anchor at left tackle to protect Justin Herbert. But I love the Ladd McConkey pick. That's one of my favorite picks by them in the second round. Maybe a slight overdraft, but Ladd McConkey's got really good hands. He's going to be a Julian Edelman type in that offense. Junior Colson's a good linebacker. Then they went Mongaje from Alabama. And then they went cornerback, because their corners there are just a little sus. And then they added some offensive help. They added some weapons, but they're bottom of the barrel guys. Vidal, Brendan Rice from USC falling to them in the 7th round is kind of crazy. I thought he was like a 3rd or 4th round guy with the tape that I saw. And then Cornelius Johnson from Michigan, another wide receiver. So their draft was pretty good. I just don't think this team is ready to compete with the top teams in this division. It'll be a close race between those bottom 3 teams. The Chiefs should probably run away with it if they can stay healthy. All right, everyone, that wraps up the AFC for me. The Bills, Ravens, Texans, and Chiefs all win their divisions. And then the Jets, Bengals, Colts, and Raiders are going to be competing for those wild card spots, in my opinion. So let me know in the comments below. Do you like these AFC rankings for these divisions? I would love to hear what you have to say.